Hi, my name is Bill. This is packet tracer activity d3354. We're planning on building an enterprise network. We'll be using VLANs, inter VLAN routing, and VTP domains to accomplish this. We need to hook up this one integrated service router to the first floor switch, and then connect floor 1 to floor 2, and then from floor 2 to floor 3, and then of course hook up our PCs to the switches. So we'll start off by connecting using copper straight through cabling and connecting ISR route, the integrated service router, from port 00 to our last port, fast Ethernet port, which is 24. And then we'll use crossover cables to connect the actual switches together. So we're going to start by coming in here to gigabit Ethernet port 1. Connecting that to port 1 on this one, and then connecting port 2, connecting port 2 on this guy to port 1 on this guy. And then we'll use straight through cable again and connect up our PCs. So we'll start from fast Ethernet port 1 to fast Ethernet port. Do the same here. Port 1, and last but not least, this will be right here. Okay, now that we're all connected up, we can start configuring. So we'll start off with our integrated service router, open him up and go to the command line interface, and start throwing some commands. The first thing we're going to do is enable the switch. Come on, you. EM. Hello. Here we go. Now that it's enabled, we can start configuring. So we throw conf T, which is configure through terminal, and we're ready to go because we see it says router config, so it shows that's in configuration, global configuration. So first thing we're going to start with is the host name, which is going to be ISR router. The second thing we're going to plug in is going to be the password. So we need to enable password, which is going to be Cisco123, all lowercase. And the next thing we're going to plug in here is going to be the VTY password. So type in line VTY04. This is config line where we need to be, and we'll give it the password of class. Login. We'll go ahead and exit out. Now we're back to global configuration mode. Line console 1 or 0. Give it a password, class, and login, and exit. Okay, so we just configured our router. That's all done. Now we can move on to start configuring some of these switches. So before I leave, I always like to exit, and then come out here and say copy, run, start. So I don't lose everything. Okay. So now we'll click on our first switch right here. Go to the CLI, enable it, and start configuring. Okay, the host name that I want to give it is going to be floor 1 switch. It's imperative I do it exactly the way that the book wants it, otherwise you will not get credit for this exercise. Floor 1 switch. There we go. Okay, now we can enable password, just like we did on the router. And again, give it a Cisco123. And then we have to set the VTY password. Give the password of class. Log. And you have to go be careful, I have fat fingers. Exit out of here, out of config line, and then go to console. You know, you don't have to spell everything out completely. You can just put con for console, and it'll pick it up. Give the password of class, and log in, and we'll exit out. And again, I like to exit all the way out. Configure from console by console again, and I'm going to say copy, run, start. Alright. Minimize that guy. Alright, next up, go to floor 2. The same exact thing we just did there. Oh, goodness. Ugh, bless me. Alright. Enable the switch. Conf T. Configuration mode. Now that we're there, we can go ahead and start setting everything else, like host name. Again, got to be careful. It's going to be floor 2 underscore switch. Exactly the way how they put it in the book. Alright. Now we can set the password. Should be Cisco 123, just like the other devices. And now line VTY 04. We can set the password here, which will be class. Require that at login, of course. And then exit out. We're in config line, we're going to be in console, so we have to change up a little here. Line con 0. Hello. Now we're in config line. We're going to set password. Class. At login. And then exit. And like I said, I'd like to exit again. And we'll copy or start. Okay, next up. Switch 3, just like the others. Okay, enable. Conf T. Host name. Gonna fly right on the host. Floor 3. Oh, I didn't spell that right. Floor 3 underscore switch. Okay, got it right. Okay. Next we want to enable password. Cisco 1, ooh, not a space. 1, 2, 3. Line VTY 04. Password. Class. Login. Exit. And then line con 0. Password, class, login, exit, copy, run, start. Okay, Now that we've configured all three switches and the router, we can actually go in here and start configuring our interfaces that will connect the routers and the switches. So the first thing we need to do is set all the interfaces that connect the floor 1, 2, and 3 switches as trunk ports. So we'll go ahead and pull him open. Alright. Find the right setting here. So I remember how to do all this. Run global settings. So here's switch, VLAN, interface. We want to go down to our interface, which is for floor 1, we're connecting using Gigabit Ethernet 1. There we are. And right now we are set as access, which we don't want. We actually want it to be a trunk line. So that's set. You can usually choose the VLAN that you want over here. Come in here to the CLI and you look, it's already thrown the command for you. Switch port mode trunk. Alright, so I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other ones. Go in here, go to our configuration, set him in the trunk, and him, because we have two of them operating at once, as a trunk. And we'll do the same thing on number 3. He's just Gigabit Ethernet 1. So he's now set to a trunk. So we've set all 3 of these to have all of them to be trunk lines. Now we also don't want to forget about this guy right here. If we hover over him, it should tell us where he's connected to again. Okay, it's making a liar out of me. But he's connected to Fast Ethernet 24. So we need to set him up to be a trunk line as well. Okay. So next we'll go back over here to our router. Just a minute. Of course it's asking us for the password. Alright, so we should be able to get into the router. Take a look at our switches here. Everything's connected through Fast Ethernet 00 here. So we want to make sure that he's enabled and turned on. Alright, looking good. Okay. Now what we want to do is set up a series of sub-interfaces on this interface. Let's go over here to our command line interface for just a minute. Looks like we're all set to go in and configure the interface. Alright. So we want to set up, as I said before, 3 different sub-interfaces on this line. We want them to be .20, .25, and .30, and then set the encapsulation for the IP address and the subnet masks as well. So let's start off by setting up our first sub-interface. So I'll start off with, well, first I need to get rid of the IP address. Okay, now I've done that. Throw a no shut. Alright. What I want to do is set up my first interface. So alright. So interface 00.20. That'll be our first one. Okay, now you see it says it's in the config sub-interface mode right now, so you know that it's in 00.20. We can set the encapsulation at this point. which is going to be dot 1Q20. Okay, and then we can set the IP address as well. That's why I put the no IP address to get rid of it, to clear it out, so to speak. So 192.168.20.1, and then our subnet mask. There we go, 255.255.255.0. Now I can exit out of this one. Alright, now let's set up my next interface, which is going to be interface FA 0/0.25. You see it's back in sub-interface mode, which is great. We're going to go ahead now and set the encapsulation. Dot 1Q. Alright. Next I have to set the IP address. Alright. Having multiple brain farts this morning. A little foggy in the head. Which is going to be 192.168.25.1 with the subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. Okay, now we can throw an exit. And then lastly, we have to set up our last one, our .30. So again, we're going to go ahead and configure another interface. Sub-interface, I should say. Which will be interface FA 0/0.30. If I remember right? Yes. .30. And we're in. And we can set our encapsulation. Caps dot 1Q 20. Oh, what am I thinking? dot 30, dummy. And caps dot 1Q 30. Okay. So we set that, set the IP address, which will be 192.168.30.1 255.255.255.0. Oh, it's 30. Darn it. I keep doing that. 192. IP address. What's that, a brain fart after brain fart today? 30.1 255.255.255.0. There. Okay, everyone's happy now. I think we have set everything the way that everything needs to be set. So now moving on. So what was as I always like to do before I leave, is exit out, back to privileged exec mode, and then throw my traditional copy, run, start. Of course. Now I won't lose everything. Hey, look, everything's starting to turn into a Christmas tree, except for all the lights are green. Isn't that cute? Alright, next up. So when I come here to these switches, open this bad boy up, get in here, And we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're in. Password was class again if you don't remember. Alright, now that we're in, we can need to enable the switch. And of course it asks us for yet another password, which is Cisco 123. Yay. Now that we're in global or in privilege exec mode, we can get into configuration mode. Yay. Now that we're here, we can actually start setting things up. Alright, the first thing I want to do is set the domain name. So we're going to set VTP domain to be site X, just like it says in the book. So changed it to site X, as you can see, it verified that. Okay, now we're going to set a VTP password for it. So put in, I think it's VTP password. And we want that to be Cisco VTP. Oh, gotta do it just like it says in the book, otherwise you get it wrong. VTP. Yeah, it took it. Alright, good. And while we're at it, since we're on switch 1, this is going to be the server of the 3. So we want to set its mode. So we're going to say VTP mode server. So now it's in server mode. If you remember correctly, all switches are generally set as a default to be servers, but this is an existing network, and they weren't set as, it wasn't set as server, so that's why it didn't give us the old tried and true message saying it's automatically server. So, alright. Next up, we're going to do the same thing to floor 2 and floor 3. All the same commands. We're setting the VTP domain, the password, and the mode. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. And throw our passwords again. I gotta enable first, darn it. Okay. Alright, now that we're in there, we can set the VTP domain. It's going to be site X. And we'll set this guy's mode to be client. And we'll set the password, VTP password, to be Cisco VTP. Okay. Now we'll need to go ahead and exit. Actually, I have more work to do, so I think we'll leave that as it is, come back to it later. Go to 3, let's enable him. Alright. This need set VTP mode. What was this one going to be? Client. And then VTP password to be Cisco VTP. Okay, now that all this nonsense is done, we can move on to our next step, which is going to be to configure the different VLANs. Which is why I didn't get out all the way, because I just realized I'm going to have another step to do. So next, I'm going to configure my VLANs now. What I'm going to do is go back here into the first one, which is the server. And as we can see, we're already in global configuration mode, which is great, because that's exactly where I want to be. And we're going to set up our first VLAN. Let's say VLAN 20. Okay, so then we're in config VLAN mode. Now I want to give it a name. So the name I'm going to give it is going to be admin. So we'll say name admin with capital A. Okay, now if that's set, I can exit out of here. Then I'm going to set VLAN 25. Kitty, get away. No, bad kitty. And this name is going to be management. Exit out of here. Damn cat. I have a little kitty. Stop it. And VLAN 30. And its name will be finance. Okay. So now that we've set all of our VLANs up, if you remember, earlier we were setting up our trunk lines. So here on switch 1, we go back here and we look that the fast Ethernet 24, that's the one that goes between the router and the switch. Okay, and then if we look at which one was it? It was fast Ethernet 1? No. This guy right here. You can actually see what is connected right now. So you set your trunk line, you can actually set it to a specific VLAN at that point, if you know what the VLAN is going to be. So we know that here on switch 1 that this was a trunk line, and that this one here is just your typical fast Ethernet access line. So we can go into there and we can actually give this guy number 20, which is going to be the admin, because we've already configured that earlier. Alright, so okay, so moving on, we've already set our modes earlier, as we already know. So we'll come up here and log into this guy. Come on, you. Set him up next. Let's see here. In the global configuration mode. Okay, now we're all set and ready to go. So go ahead and start off by configuring our interface. /1. We can do this one of two ways. We can either type it in here on the command line, or we can actually go in and click on buttons and change it that way. But I'm going to show you both ways. Switch port, access, VLAN 30. Okay. So what did that just do for you? If you come back here and you look, if we were to go to our fast Ethernet port 1, you'll see that it's set to access and VLAN 30. I like to just use this tool. It's so much easier than trying to remember all the damn commands. So for the next one, I'm going to go ahead and use this interface again one more time. So you saw on this one, we just went into the fast Ethernet interface that we wanted to set up. We clicked on it, set the access and what VLAN you want it to be. And what it does is it automatically creates the commands for you, which is so much simpler. So I'm going to come here. This one should be which VLAN? So we set this guy up here. He should be 20. Bring him back in here. Alright. He's 20. This guy should be 25, so we'll change him to 25. And it'll automatically generate the commands for you, as you can see. It just did it right there. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing up here to this guy. Change him to 30. As you can see, it automatically did that for you. Okay. Go ahead and exit out of here. Config, exit. Copy, run, start. Just do the same for this fellow right here. And exit. Copy, run, start. Gotta save everything. Okay. So we've connected everybody together. And last but not least, what we want to do is try to ping everything. So let's go from ping. We're going to try to ping from PC1 and PC2. Or we're going to try to ping PC1 and PC2 from PC0. Oh, what a pain. Okay, so PC0. We need to find out what PC1 and PC2's IP addresses are. So if we click on them, then we get our little screen here, and we can actually look and see what their IP configuration is. So PC2 is 192.168.30.101. Okay. PC1 is 192.168.25.101. And I'm sure this might come into place sooner or later, so might as well go ahead and get the other one while we're here. 192.168.20.101. So without further ado, since we have to be at PC0, let's go ahead and get the command prompt open and start pinging. Oops. So ping 192.168.30.101. We're getting replies. Outstanding. Then we're going to ping 192.168.25.101. And we are receiving replies. Outstanding. Okay, now let's go to PC1. Try the same thing. Try to ping the other guys. So, PC1 is going to try to ping PC2. Okay, success. Let's try to ping PC0. Okay, I was able to find everything. Outstanding. Now we got to go from PC2. Do the same thing again. Ping 192.168.25.101. Ping 192.68.20.1. Okay, we found everybody just fine. Outstanding. So everything appears to be hooked up just fine and dandy. It says I missed something. What did I miss? 1,000 things to do. What did I miss? Oh, great. VT lines. This is an ass pain. You know, it says I haven't configured everything, so let's go back to the CLI, and we'll go ahead and start entering things back in here again. I guess I want to exit out of here. Alright, go ahead and type in BTY03 password class login exit, do the same thing again. Line BTY02 password class login exit, oops, exit, and then we'll do line BTY01. Oh boy, I hope I did that right. Password class okay. That should do it. And it says that we got it done right. Apparently, I have to set all my VTY lines. Well, this has been a very long and frustrating tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it.